should you buy Bitcoin mining stocks, or is Bitcoin better? Or maybe is there something better in the industry other than Bitcoin miners or Bitcoin? With all transparency, I own 4 Bitcoin miners. I am literally now asking myself why. The first reason is I had some money in a banking account that would not afford me the luxury to buy Bitcoin. I could have bought MicroStrategy. I could have bought NVIDIA. I could have bought Palantir. I bought some mining stocks. I look at it now, 3-4 months later, I'm asking myself, why am I into these mining stocks? Because the capital cost for these guys is extreme. One of the indicators that when you ask these guys, hey, what is your cost to produce Bitcoin? Almost none of them include the cost of capital. Now, when I buy Bitcoin, it cost me $62,000. If I wanted to become a Bitcoin miner, let's go through the things I have to do. I have to buy land or rent land. I have to acquire the machines. I have to now also go buy some energy from a oil producer, electric utility, somebody like that, right? So I've introduced something else now, and I get to hopefully have an operations team that knows how to make all these machines work so that I can then create exahash, and then I create Bitcoin through the exahash, the hash rate. Now let's think about an oil producer. What does he have to do? Or an energy producer or a utility? They drill a hole in the ground. They got to borrow the money. The miner has to borrow the money too, or raise money, right? So Exxon goes out, they raise some money, or they use their stock. They then find a piece of land. They then buy the equipment or go to Halliburton and lease a bunch of equipment. They drill a hole in the ground. They find energy and they turn it into fiat. What are Bitcoin miners doing? Bitcoin miners are actually adding 2 levels of complexity. They have to buy the land just like ExxonMobil, which is, to me, stupid. Secondly, they then have to find the capital. They then have to go buy machines. So this is the new introduction. They have to go buy these fancy machines, compete with Google and Amazon and NVIDIA. Well, they're probably buying the machines from NVIDIA. And then they then have to go buy the oil from ExxonMobil, right? And they then have to make sure that that energy, not oil, but that electricity is priced correctly such that they can mine Bitcoin. So they've introduced so many different levels here. They've got to buy energy. They've got to get a PPA, a power purchase contract. They then have to also acquire the energy. And then they have to make sure that they have all their force majeure they have to get the capital to buy the machines. Then they have to have credit, perfect credit to do business with the utility. They have to sign an ISDA agreement. They probably have to set up a risk management team to trade the arbitrage between electricity and Bitcoin. What else do they have to do? Gosh, they have to talk to analysts. They have to deal with the commodity exposure of Bitcoin. Okay. When it's 60 grand or 57,000 and their cost to produce Bitcoin is 74, the average cost of production of the largest miners in the United States is $74,000. Okay. In a $62,000 market. So I can buy Bitcoin and not have any of that exposure. I don't have the capital exposure. I don't have the operational exposure. I don't have Tennessee Valley getting flooded exposure. I don't have insurance issues. I don't have SEC issues. I don't have the regulatory issues. I don't have to worry about presidents coming in like Kamala Harris going, hey, what are you guys doing using so much energy for Bitcoin? Or have to deal with Elizabeth Warren. All I have to do when I buy Bitcoin is stick it in my wallet and move on down the road and focus on my business. Like the more I look at this, I'm like, why am I buying these mining companies? I mean, if anything, I could have bought MicroStrategy, which is a pure play. Like there's a reason Saylor is not buying mining companies. They're complicated. They're really, really, really complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces relative to buying Bitcoin. Like buying Bitcoin at $60,000, you can buy $6,000 of it. Oh, that's the other thing. These miners ain't going to make it without scale. They will not make this without big scale. So they need lots of volume. I mean, I talked to a company yesterday, $2.5 billion company. They have $100 million of cash on their balance sheet, $500 million of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they still have to raise money. I mean, that's staggering, and that's a great operator, okay? Look, some of these guys are going to be great. CleanSpark's got a good business. I interviewed them yesterday. Their cost to produce outside capital costs is around $27,000. They have a very good operations team. They're extremely focused. This is my other concern about these miners. They're going to go into all types of different directions because they have to. They're going to start selling lemonade if they have to. We've seen the guys at Marathon all of a sudden, they're going to start doing the HFC play and the arbitrages on artificial intelligence. Look, every time I've ever heard of a company, including Enron or General Electric, start to come up with other businesses that they're going to build, multi-billion-dollar businesses outside of their core business, it never works, okay? You cannot give me one or two scenarios in 50 years where large mega companies were able to spawn out and build anything. Nothing. Give me one example of any company that was able to spawn out. Now, if you include that Google bought everything they have and Amazon bought every company and every other big tech firm, Meta, they were allowed by the regulators to buy every technology company in the last 10 years that came on the planet. MasterCard and Visa bought fraud solutions all over the world. I'm not sure that's really stopped anything or enhanced the productivity of the United States. But if you're competing with ExxonMobil and you're a $2 billion miner, probably not going to survive, right? They have all the embedded. Look, Exxon already has a monster balance sheet. They have the land. They have the equipment. They know how to operate. I think these miners are going to go through very, very similar commodity cycles like farmers. It's a rough business to be in unless you're perfect. And you get lucky. You don't have a storm that wipes out your generation. So a lot of risk. To me, owning Bitcoin, buying it from Coinbase, putting it in your wallet, buying it from Binance is still right now at 62 grand. It's a absolute no-brainer. If you like a bunch of headaches and moving pieces, Bitcoin miners, probably a great spot. If you like simplicity and you like number go up, limited downside, limited risk in a marketplace that I think we're 4 months away from full acceptance by the world. Bitcoin's most certainly. I think we're 4 months away from the world acknowledging Bitcoin as a superior asset. So don't know why we get involved with a really, really complex operating business. I'm not sure I'm going to sell my miners. I'm not suggesting that because I'm in the trade now. I'm in profit. So it probably is a good time to look at, hey, have I made the right decision? But once you make a decision like this, it's hard to like unwind it. When I say it's hard, it's not hard. It's just, hey, do I want to look at that today? Probably is worth me looking at. So love your thoughts on why buying Bitcoin is not as attractive as just as buying the Bitcoin miners. Why would you, buy Bitcoin miners? And the answer can't be, well, I'm going to make more money and then I'll be able to convert it to Bitcoin. If that's true, really would like to see the results of that because I think relative to the risk, you need to probably make 2.5 times on your money to take that kind of risk. The headache, like they're volatile as all get out. Imagine if you're holding let's just imagine you're holding a miner that has a large position in Brazil and Brazil says, we're not doing business with Americans tomorrow. What would happen? Okay. What would happen if your miner has a position in France and France doesn't like miners or Americans? Which, by the way, both those countries are showing signs of, hey, we don't really like freedom. We don't like open markets. We don't like freedom of speech. I don't want to do business there, but I also don't want to be exposed to having equity positions in a country where, a third of the production's in Brazil and they get shut down. That is a problem. Um, and I don't have that with Bitcoin. I have no sovereign risk with Bitcoin. I have no geographic risk. I have no location. I have every Ponzi scheme on the planet to bet against this, right? Because they all just print money out of nothing. I have no operational risk on Bitcoin. And it seems to me like the whole world's coming to Bitcoin. Nobody's in this yet. And that's the time you want to be in it, when it's less than 1% adoption. And you have BNY Mellon, Cantor Fitzgerald, Franklin Templeton, Citi, Fidelity, Google, Amazon, Sony, Apple, everybody's coming to Bitcoin. Why would I not want to get in this game right now and keep my life simple? And buying into mining stocks right now might be a play, but it's going to be a sharp play, 4 to 9 months. And then you're going to think about having to rotate, which, by the way, if you're only in this for 4 to 9 months, that is not capital gains. That's ordinary income. And that ordinary income, you should really calculate, do the taxes that offset the gains that you were going to make with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, you probably didn't ever even need to sell. Further, and this is my last point, we are this close to being able to borrow, lean against, and leverage Bitcoin, whether it's through options, whether it's through borrowing and lending. Most certainly that is coming to the market, and I think we're less than 9 months away from that. So really it's going to be hard to borrow against Bitcoin mining stocks. If I go to my bank today and go, hey, I want to borrow against those, they're going to be like, dude, those are volatile. Okay, I'm not sure I can loan against that. They're more volatile than Bitcoin itself. And I will not go to my bank and ask to borrow against Bitcoin. I will borrow it against a non-traditional player, or I'll buy options on it. So it's happy to have the debate, but I think it's a no-brainer. Buy Bitcoin, leave the miners alone, let somebody else do that knows what they're doing. Follow Saylor's strategy. When Saylor starts buying mining stocks, I might look at it. And I would bet a large sum of money he never enters the mining business.